Hello and welcome back to the best of Rslash. Today we're taking a look at Rslash Just Know Mother-in-Law, which is, as according to the description of the community, a place to get support and advice dealing with mean, nasty, toxic, and or abusive mother-in-laws and moms. This story has been posted by Lime Popcorn. He, by the way, has posted many other stories on this same exact thread, but the one that we're reading today is extra crazy. Trigger warning, violence and homophobia. I'll try to post this one more time in case I did something wrong. Yesterday, I came in for my shift in the morning without thinking about mother-in-law at all. I got changed, had a cup of coffee, looked who I was going to be paired with, and when my partner and I walked out of the police station to go to the patrol car, I saw mother-in-law. She did kind of come up to me, not close enough for a conversation, but close enough so that I could hear her. She started to say something about my boyfriend and the money she needs. I saw her, but I totally ignored her. I just walked past her without saying a word and went straight to the patrol car to start my shift. And the fact that I ignored her annoyed her pretty badly, I guess. She stepped back a bit, waited till we got into the car, and just before we turned on the engine and started to drive, she grabbed a rock from a nearby flower bed and threw it to the windshield of our car. The windows of our patrol cars are quite durable, fortunately. It cracked, but it didn't shatter, and I didn't end up with a face full of glass. I wasn't driving, my partner was driving, and it was obvious that she aimed her throw right at the passenger seat where I was at. Then she probably realized that doing that to a police car in front of two police officers in front of a police station wasn't the smartest thing to do, and she turned around and took off running. I got out and ran after her. This pursuit wasn't very long. She only made it to the park, and that's not far from the police station where I caught her. And that's when she started to make the biggest scene I had ever seen. Mother-in-law had no intention of calmly letting me put handcuffs on her. Instead, she dropped to the ground and started to yell for help. Mind you, it was an early morning, but there were already quite a lot of people in the park. Some were walking their dogs, some were jogging, some were just walking through to get wherever they needed. She was yelling at the top of her lungs, "People, good people, help me! I'm being abused! Call the police! This one is not a real police officer! He's trying to kidnap me!" And things like that. She was yelling for help so loudly that everyone in the park stopped whatever they were doing and looked at us. Everyone. Man, woman, children, dogs, and cats. There was not a single person that wasn't looking at us. You might think I'm a man and she's a woman, so I should be able to hold her down, but really it's not that simple. She was hitting and scratching and biting. She was spitting at me. Also, during the struggle, she kicked me several times, quite hard and painful. Honestly, at this point, I had all the rights to tase her. I didn't. My partner came with the car. He helped me, and together we managed to handcuff her. The next problem was getting her into the patrol car. Our patrol cars are like vans. The back door opens, and there's like a cage with a bench where you can put a person in. And mother-in-law wasn't going to get in there without a fight. Even with her hands cuffed, she was kicking the door, spread her legs very wide so that we couldn't get her in, and when we got her in, she was putting her feet in the doorway so we couldn't close the door. While she was doing all this, she never stopped to yell that we're breaking her bones and that we have no right to treat her like this and that this is against the law, and still asking the people to call the real police. During my whole career as a cop, I had never had an arrest like this. I have arrested many drunk people, many aggressive people, many weird people, but this right here was the stupidest thing ever. We took her to the police station, and if we had troubles getting her in the car, now she didn't want to get out. She held onto the bars, and we literally had to grab and pull her out. Once inside, mother-in-law immediately demanded to see the captain. She wasn't listening when we tried to explain that the captain isn't going to do anything for her and shouldn't be bothered with this. She insisted that she has the rights to see someone superior, and technically, she's right. So we went to get a captain for her who recognized her from the last time and wasn't too happy to see her. Mother-in-law said that she wants to complain about this officer while pointing at me. She said that I abused my power, used way too much strength on her, and didn't even care that she's a fragile woman. That I twisted her hands and brutally pushed her into the car. The captain asked to see my body camera. This is one of the reasons why we use body cameras all the time. If the suspect says one thing and the officer says something different, then you can watch the recording and see what actually happened. So the captain played the recording for all of the present to see, and he asked mother-in-law, "What's this, ma'am?" as she was clearly ignoring my orders on camera. Mother-in-law was like, "This is me fighting for my life. It's a survival instinct. I thought he would take the gun and shoot me right in the head." The captain was like, "No, ma'am, this is you resisting arrest. If an officer is giving you a lawful order, you're supposed to listen. And if you don't listen, the officer has the right to use a certain amount of force to detain you." Mother-in-law says, "I take no orders from f***s," while glaring at me. She was charged with vandalism, fleeing from the police, resisting arrest, and assaulting an officer. And just as she was going to be taken to jail, mother-in-law suddenly started to complain that she's not feeling well. She said that her heart hurts and she's dizzy and her blood pressure is too high and she wanted an ambulance. Everyone realized that she's faking, but just to be sure that we're not mistaken and she doesn't die when arriving to the jail, we called an ambulance. The medics came and examined her. Just like we thought, she was fine. Her heart rate was normal. Her blood pressure was normal. She had no need to be hospitalized. I was just thinking, what do you think would have happened, mother-in-law? The charges don't disappear just because the person is taken to the hospital. She probably didn't know that even if she was hospitalized, an officer would have gone there with her and stayed with her all the time. And as soon as she was okay again, she would be transported to jail anyway. She wouldn't sneak away if that's what she was thinking of doing. The ambulance left, and even though our captain is a very calm and composed man, at this point he seemed very irritated. He was like, "Ma'am, is the circus over, or are you going to give us more nonsense?" Mother-in-law then asked him if he was going to punish me, and he answered that no, he's not going to punish an officer simply because I was doing my job. And then mother-in-law looked straight at him and went, "Are you gay too?" I froze. I couldn't believe that she really just asked that to the captain. I know he's not gay, but this was probably the most inappropriate thing she could have done. He knows I'm gay because I was forced to come out to him when mother-in-law tried to cause troubles for me the first time. He ordered her to be taken to jail immediately, and even then, she still had the audacity to speak. She insisted on having a phone call so that she could call her son and he could pay her bail. I'm not sure why she thinks my boyfriend is going to bail her out this time when he didn't do it the last time. I called him first and told him that his mother is arrested, and he seemed quite delighted as he's so tired of her. The captain offered my boyfriend to come to the station and see the recording if he wants, but we really don't want to show ourselves as a gay couple more than absolutely necessary. Mother-in-law did call my boyfriend and he refused to bail her out, so she'll have to stay in the cell till her trial. Since she already has a record, I'll be surprised if she's not giving jail time this time. You've been listening to the best of Rslash. If you like what we're doing, please leave a thumbs up and also consider subscribing because we create content like this every single day, 7 days a week on both YouTube and podcast.